Hey, how's it going everybody? It's DJ Sketch and welcome back to the channel. And today we're going to be taking a look at a slightly more obscure Sega Genesis game that I really don't hear many talk about, which is surprising since this game is sick. On today's episode we're going to be discussing Elemental Master, developed by TechnoSoft and published by Renovation Products. This initially released in Japan in December of 1990 and was released in the US in March of 1993, courtesy of Renovation. The story goes a bit like this. In the kingdom of Lorelei, the followers of the evil king Gyra are sealed underneath the city's castle. A sorcerer, known as Aryog, betrays the king's trust and unleashes the power of Gyra on the kingdom with the intent of letting the evil spread throughout the land. Layden, the strongest sorcerer in the kingdom, assembles an attack on Aryog, only to discover it's his brother Roki. Backed by his followers, Roki banishes Layden from the kingdom, though Layden vows to stop Gyra's ambitions once and for all. Sounds pretty simple, right? Well, in Elemental Master, we have a top-down shooter where you control Layden through 7 stages in which you can either shoot up or down on the playfield. Enemies will surround you quickly if your reflexes aren't sharp, and it's very easy to become overwhelmed by groups, and since you have no invincibility frames, death can be rather swift. Though challenging, this is a top-tier shoot-'em-up from the same team that developed the Thunder Force series, and all the elements are present from graphics to sound. Through the 7 stages, you can choose your path for the initial 4 and traverse the levels and receive a new weapon after each boss fight. Once you finish the first stage, you are accompanied by Nino, which will work as an option throughout the remaining stages, and upon getting to stage 6, will grant you the power of the Elemental, which you will need to finish the last 2 stages. Also, the Elementals is a pretty sick weapon. Gameplay wise, this is an absolute ride. The difficulty may seem daunting at first, but once you get comfortable with the controls, you'll be cruising. You have your standard shot and charge shot, which will help out tremendously with crowd control. Control itself is tight and responsive as you need to be agile through the stages on your journey. The missile and the spread shot were the 2 elements I found myself using the most out of all of them, but they're all pretty fairly effective, and you can kind of play around with them and see which one works out best for your playstyle. But the missile is definitely key in this game. Graphics wise, this game looks sick, and with highly detailed sprites and really clever level design, it honestly looks really cool in a lot of sections. The game also features cutscenes in the same vein as NES Ninja Gaiden, and the artwork here is fucking awesome. The effects you'll see throughout each stage look really cool too, and also is a great demonstration of what the Genesis was capable of. There's also little to no slowdown, even when things start to get kind of intense with the amount of enemies on screen, so this one pretty much cooks from start to finish. Audio wise, this will also have some recognizable sounds from Thunder Force 2, such as the sound of impacts from shots, and also the music in this game is off the chain. The soundtrack from Toshiharu Yamanishi is beyond stellar, because also the tunes you'll hear throughout this game will carry you through with so much energy that it has. Like, honestly, the music in this game is honestly one of the best parts as well. You can definitely tell the composers for TechnoSoft were probably some metalheads behind the scene, especially when you hear the soundtrack to Thunder Force 4, which is also like one of the best soundtracks in gaming, period. The last 2 stages of the game are where things are going to start getting pretty tough, especially with the boss fight on stage 6, since it's impervious to every other weapon that you have except for the elemental that Nina will give you at the beginning of stage 6. This weapon makes short work of everything that it hits, and you'll be using it a lot in the latter stages of the game. Stage 7 is a boss rush and gauntlet of sorts, so switching through your weapons and using the elemental on bosses is more or less the move to get through this section quicker. And the last boss fight between Roki and King Gyra is also pretty sick, and honestly it's solid with like the actual boss designs themselves and also just the way that the fight actually works. Dodge their attacks and hit them with Elemental Blast and you're done. You know, it took me a long time to track down a copy of this game, and this is one of those more obscure Genesis games, and somehow it flew under the radar when it came out, which is crazy considering how good it is. And if you're into shoot 'em up games, especially ones on the Genesis, this is a must play and a must have, and if you have the means to acquire it, I highly recommend it. Elemental Master gets a 9 out of 10. My only real complaint with this, I have to say, is that the game is a little bit too short, but holy shit, it is a powerhouse from start to finish. And again, I thank you so much for checking out the video. If you can find these reviews helpful, that's awesome. I'm stoked you can use that as a resource. And check back soon. We're going to have more reviews and more commentaries coming up in the future. And until then, stay safe out there, take it easy, and I'll see you on the next one.